You're gonna like this guy. He's all right. He's a good fella. He's one of us.
Episode 7 of the Good Life podcast.
Yes, sir.
How's your week been?
Good, man. Another good week. Solid week. Training's good. Work's good. Track was great. Loads of wins in the TGL team. How's yours?
We're just finding the Good Life system and we're repeating it now. There's a lot of repetition in our weeks now, which I like.
Yeah, we have our Google Calendar, don't we? And we just tick things off. I think it's great. I think repetition is just so helpful. I think it's something that people chase variety in every area of life. And sometimes if something works, just keep churning it out.
The thing that I love about our weeks is that each day has its purpose. So for us, Monday is checking in with everyone. Tuesday, we've got track. Wednesdays, calls, catching up with people on Zoom. Thursdays, coming to do the podcast. Friday is, I guess, a mix of everything really, and then weekends with the family. Usually for me, Saturdays, mine and Roman's time mainly, gymnastics, go for food, family in the evening, cheat meal day, long run day, best day of the week. For me, Saturday, best day of the week, and then Sunday, just pure family day, recovery, chill. So yeah, it's a nice structure. And I done my first half marathon with you last Saturday as well. Was buzzing about that, to be honest.
Nailed it. You nailed it. It was so good. I mean, I was saying to, I can't remember who I was saying it to, but I think people get carried away. And it's such a misconception because they see you're in decent shape and see you run and they just assume that you're a fit guy, been doing it for ages. But mate, you've only been running like, I don't know, is it 8-10 weeks, something like that?
Yeah, about
and
8.
the fact to tick off, say you've run a half marathon distance already is insane.
I was buzzing. I feel like something that I'm not trying to get caught up in, and I'm actually doing it well, is not just comparing myself to like the best runners. Because if I go on socials, like some of people I know closely are just running absolutely ridiculous times. But like you said, it's just about where did you start? How were you progressing? And I literally remember 8 weeks ago when I started, just doing my first 10K was like tough. And we done a half marathon pretty much at like 4:30 pace until about 18K when I got a puncher, as we call it. I don't know what happened. I guess it's just my body isn't used to running that kind of distance. But, you know, we basically were set out to do, 450s?
Yeah.
But I was running with you and Kane and these boys were killing me off. They were like, 430's a pace. Let's just stick to 430. I'm like, yeah, no worries. Absolutely fine. And I actually did feel good.
Fine,
and then all of a sudden, boom, I just am not trained for that distance yet. And it pulled me back to about 5:30s maybe. It was a stitch. I don't know what it was, but anyway, I couldn't run through it. But I finished it still. I think it was around 140, 145. You were just about sub 140, I think on that. So, I mean, only a training run for you, obviously, but it's, it was good to do it. Good experience.
It's just good to tick off and to know your body can do that. But I think something you said, mate, was I remember when you first started your running, it might have been like in the first week or second week, we met at Dubai Hills Park. And we done that run, and you're in a bad place.
That was bad.
You're in a really bad place.
What was the paces on that?
I think the quickest pace was 4:30, but it was it wasn't a long run. It was like maybe like 7 or 8K, something like that. It wasn't long. It was a couple of K at this, a couple of K at that, a couple of K at that.
Thinking about that.
And you're in a bad place. Yeah, you was in a rotten place.
And it's got a lot hotter now. Feeling that, right? How did you feel that this morning on your run?
I was in a bad place this morning. If we're talking about bad places, I had a look at Strava. I don't know how accurate it was, but it said like 72% humidity. And as soon as I started, I left it a little bit later. So I think I probably started running about maybe 6:30-ish. So not even that late in the day. But it got me good. Like I still feel like I'm suffering now a bit. Like I've had so many electrolytes and tried to refuel a little bit. But it was really tough. I think as well, it was a threshold run. So it wasn't all out effort, but it wasn't a slow effort. And the whole thing just sucked. Yeah, I didn't enjoy it one bit. It was like, had no saliva in my mouth.
But you completed it?
Oh, of course, yeah.
You got it done on the times that you needed to and all that kind of stuff. That's the most important thing.
Mate, always. You know, like I'll always bury myself to hit a time. I find it so hard if I don't have something on my watch. It's really weird. I need that sort of level of accountability. So if I ever do a race or something like that, I'll have my times that I need to hit. Normally, I'll have like a bracket. So I have to be between here and this is the maximum bracket. If I go over there, then like, I've failed. And it helps massively. And I think your mind will give up for your body in all areas. Like, yes, you're going to be tired. Yes, things get hard. But you can probably go a lot further than you think.
I realised that on the half marathon is obviously I had to drop off once I got the stitch, and then I realised that where I wasn't being paced by you guys at 4:30s, mentally it was just like a different game to then keep up. It was like you were getting pulled back a little bit and you're fighting against it, whereas before it's you're in such a flow. It's like, how can you just drop off that quick? And I do think there's a big mental game to it as well.
It's huge, and it happens in races, mate. Like I've told you before, I don't know if it's a race day buzz. I don't really like buzz about a race day because there's so many people there. Like it doesn't feel like as intimate. But for me, you just find a different gear, and it's really strange. I always related to back when I played football. Like you'd always find a different gear in matches, and you did training. It's really hard to match that intensity, and it's sort of the same. You see it in like people who do like CrossFit competitions or high roxes or just lifting. When it comes to competition, when it comes to taking it to that next level, you can always find that gear.
Yeah.
Always. And it must just be that mindset shift.
100%. Definitely, mate. No, it was good. It was a good experience to do the half. And then after that, we had a family photo shoot that we went to. Did I tell you about what happened at the family photo shoot? So
I don't think so.
Essentially, there's a company who are amazing out here, by the way. If anyone needs a company to do family photo shoots with, send them my way. I'll send you the link to their Instagram. And they done a shoot for us when Roman was born, when Beth was pregnant, then when Beth gave birth to the twins, we done a family photo shoot, and then another one, twins, 6 months. So we turned up and just getting all of the kids there with like the right clothing. Anyway, I was in charge of preparing the clothing. I've brought everyone's clothes but Beth's.
That's the worst person you could have forgot.
Literally.
Oh,
I remember
no.
I went upstairs, I ironed all the clothes, and then I just forgot her coat hanger. Anyway, luckily they had backup options and she was sorted. But then we turned up to the family photo shoot and they said, oh, okay, we're just going to debrief you on the advert today. And we were like, what's going on here? And essentially, I don't think they communicated it. It's fine. We've done it anyway. But we actually had to do like an ad. They said, we've got the script here. This is what you've got to say. This is how you've got to do this. So it ended up being like a bit of an ad.
How did you find that?
I weren't heavily involved. It was more Beth, luckily.
Okay.
I had to do a few things where basically they printed out like a catalogue of Roman as a baby and were getting us to like open it and like react and stuff. But it wasn't really me. It was actually from me like eyes down, so it weren't my full face in it, whereas Beth had to do a little bit more acting. And
she's good at that though.
But
That's right up her
bread and
street.
butter. Yeah, so but it was just a funny
That's
experience.
brilliant.
And then at the end they got us all in and done some family shots anyway.
Nice.
So it's nice to get them just to, so especially with us, it's so hard to get a group family picture when you've got other people there. Getting that moment is important.
No,
So
that'd be great. I've seen
day.
like the original shots from years back and stuff like that, and that's so well done.
Yeah.
So that'd be great. And I know you said they want to get like a whole journey.
Yeah.
And I think, mate, I'm a huge lover of photos. I think they're amazing. Not even just to share, but just for you. And like when you look back in like 5-10 years time, like you've got them. I love looking at old photos, even for like when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Times you've forgotten and stuff like that. I think it's great.
Even relating it to fitness, like I like doing a fitness photo shoot every year, every 2 years. I always try and put them in every year just to have that documentation of like where you were at that year with your body composition. It kind of summarizes that phase of your life as well. I think it's an important.
Photos are so special, man. Like that's such a special thing. And I think if we're talking about like fitness and stuff, that's why checking photos are so important. And I know they're uncomfortable to do, and some people don't like them, but it's probably one of the best measures for success. You're not always going to see the success on the scales right away. You're not always going to see the success in just how you're feeling day to day. You look at yourself every day. But the pictures do tell, and it's great for me and you. We can point out small things that they might not notice. But yeah, photos are amazing.
I feel like one piece of advice I would give to my older self is just take more photos at the start, because when I try and look back to my starting progress shots, obviously when you start because you haven't got confidence in your body. But then all of a sudden, you're like, I'll take photos when I'm in good shape. And then when I look back now, it seems like I was always in relatively good shape. But there was a time before that where I just never took photos, hid away from the camera. So I feel like even if people just store them privately somewhere, just take as many photos. Or even in life, in business, if you're in a place where you're not that happy, like take photos of your day to day. Like I wish that I took photos when, you know, me and Beth first moved into our little studio flat and there was like nothing in there, or whether you're starting a new business and the room's empty, like get photos of all of that, because it makes you appreciate then the growth. But I feel like sometimes we're hardwired to like, oh, I want to look successful, so I'm going to wait for that. That's definitely been my thing that I wish I'd done earlier.
I think people assume that you've always had that. And so for you, like talking about, people probably assume you've always been in decent shape because you haven't got the photos before. And I think people just assume that you were never there, like never in that place. People have to start from point blank the majority of the time in anything, whether it's career, whether it's fitness and stuff. So everyone has a different starting point, but everyone has a starting point.
Yeah.
And it's just about almost embracing that. Like we've been in those people who come on into the service, we've been in the same position they have.
Yeah.
Whether it is trying to build muscle, lose weight, we've been in a place where we're not happy with where we've looked, and that's why we've undergone what we went through and sort of where we're at now and why we're here, right?
Yeah.
We've 100%. All been there.
No, definitely, for sure. So I guess let's just get into a bit of a the Good Life TGL summary. So I guess just a couple of wins from my side. Shout out to Carolina first and foremost, who actually is Jose's wife. They now have just had a second daughter. So they've got Julia and Paula, and she is maybe 3 months postpartum, and she just done her first 5K run back. Pain-free, body moving, built that confidence. I feel like that's such an important win to measure, because so many people look at what we do and think that it's just like elite athletes, and you know, we are literally training people from all walks of life, and I feel like it's such a big win as a mum to be able to do that as well. So shout out to Carolina. Valentino, who we recently gave another shout out for his half marathon, he at the weekend cleared out his wardrobe and all of the clothes that no longer fit him. He said it's just such a nice thing to do, and he's obviously had to buy a new wardrobe. We always say one of the most expensive things you're going to have is when you get in shape, you're going to have to buy a lot of new clothes. It's not the worst thing to be spending your money on. So he cleared them, got them out, which was a big celebration moment, give them to charity, I believe. And then Felipe as well from Mexico, TGL Global. We are everywhere these days. Felipe, first of all, happy belated birthday, Felipe. He's mid-40s around that, and he's dropped a lot of weight. His body fat percentage is coming down, potential photo shoot client in the future, and he hiked, I believe, or hiked the highest mountain in Mexico, 1,500 meters elevation, 5.5 hours of climbing. The actual mountain itself is 5,000 plus meters, but you can only hike, I believe, 1,500. But a joke.
So I was going to say, is that something you would ever do?
I've done.
I know you've done a little bit, haven't you?
Yeah, I've done Penny Fan in Lake District. That was a good day out, actually. I went with the wrong people. Callum Bobrick. He said, it'd be a nice little walk out. I was expecting a little incline walk. Before you know it, I'm literally climbing vertically, going around the edge of a mountain, looking down like that. No, it was a good day out.
I think you invited me to that, and I think I like politely declined, if I remember rightly. But yeah, I don't know if it appeals to me. I can imagine like getting to the top would be amazing, like that sort of view, and to be like, I've gone from here to there. Like, I think that's quite nice.
I think the thing that I enjoyed about it is like the day out with everyone.
Yeah.
Like you wake up really early, a little bit like track, you know, we wake up early, but we all get in the car together. We drive down there, coffee, breakfast, you're all walking up together. Obviously, you're having a lot of different conversations and just all sorts of conversations, meeting new people. For me, the problem become when I'm start climbing. I've got no experience of climbing, and just getting into those like more dangerous situations. Like, I just was expecting an incline walk. So, but what I had to do is we were walking for a good couple of hours up, and then it got to a point where I was just like, right, that's me out of this. I cannot risk that. Like, I've got too much on the line to fall it. I was waiting. I was going to be the next news story. So I've had to go down, but it was in my head so bad that I didn't get to the top, that then I had to go up like the moderate route just to get and touch the top point. Because I was like, imagine doing the whole thing, driving up there, 7-hour drive, the whole thing, and then not even climbing it. Would be a killer.
Yeah, you redeemed yourself, man. We've had quite a few people in the service who've actually done hikes recently. It must be.
We should get a few going here.
Absolutely, yeah.
I've done Hatter here with a few of the guys as well. We've really enjoyed that. It's a good day out, so I'm sure I'll change your mind on that, mate.
Yeah, we'll give it a go. We'll definitely get a TGL hike on the go, 100%. And just to go off what you said, we had a couple more huge wins. So Adam, who's in ridiculous shape, right? Like, he's looking diced at the moment.
First to have his top off at track now.
Yeah, he loves it now.
First week, you top on. This week, straight off.
And like, he was sending us photos, wasn't he? Just about like how, I can't remember the actual message, but it was something basically like how confident he actually feels now, and almost like he's actually proud of what he's looking like in the mission he's undertaken. And he sent us a picture just saying like, thank you. And it was so nice, because that's what it's all about. I'll say it and I say it again, life is way too short to be like conscious of what you look like. If you can't go to a beach club and take your top off, if you can't go on holiday and wear a nice outfit because you're worried about having some lumps and bumps somewhere, then sort it out. Like, you have one body, and just make a few changes and you'll be flying. But like, just seeing how confident he was, because he's a confident guy anyway. He's got a great career, great socially, and now his body just matches everything else. And
I feel like with confidence as well, there's different types of confidence. So you can get confident people who are not confident in their body. Or people who are confident in their body, but they've got like no internal confidence within their ability or themselves or whatever. So yeah, I feel like there's a lot of people who we speak to who have confidence in themselves, but yeah, when it comes to them in their clothes or taking their top off or in a bikini, whatever, they haven't got that. I feel like it's so nice that he's started in a place where he wouldn't take his top off intentionally, to not only like just taking his top off, but like wanting to take his
Yeah.
top off. And there's not even like a boastful thing, but he's just like proud of the body that he's created. That it's like fashion. I always say like the most fashionable thing you can do is just get in shape, right? Like how many times have we heard the thing that someone in like a plain black tee in shape's going to look way better than someone who's overweight and in designer clothing or whatever. So yeah, it really is. The best designer is getting in shape.
100%. I think it's just shows what it can do for your whole life. Like it just elevates your life, right? Being in that better shape just elevates your life. So huge well done to him, and it's exciting because he's not done yet.
And he said he's coming on the podcast.
Yeah,
we're gonna hold him to that.
Yeah, there we go. We'll have to call him out.
100%.
And we had Nicole at Track as well. We had a couple of shout outs from Track, to be fair. So we've got a couple of clients who obviously attend the Track as well. And we've got Nicole and Roberto, can kind of shout them out together. Two people who weren't massively into running, fairly new to the program, both of them. And they had huge wins this week. So Nicole, when she first came, was it 4 weeks ago, something like that? She openly said, like, it's the first time she's ran, she couldn't even complete the 400 meters, could she, without stopping? And she put a message in the group, shared her Strava stats, and was basically just like over the moon that she's managed to run a full 800 meters. She was getting PBs all over the place. And it was just so nice to see. And she was so like grateful and thankful. And she was there at 5:15 in the morning. Had to leave a little bit early to make sure she get to work, but she still made the effort. It just shows you put the work in, like you will improve. It's impossible not to. If you put the work in, it's impossible not to improve. And then just seeing Roberto fly around the track, just the way he was moving, he looked so much better. And he was saying like he knows he's not done yet, which is such a great mindset, like he wants more and stuff. But me and you both said like he just looks so much better, so much more comfortable, lighter on his feet. And just so nice to see.
It looks more athletic.
Yeah,
that it's not
athletic's
as
the
like
word.
not as like tight and uncomfortable. I know the kind of feeling, and I'm still working on that, and we're all still working on that, and that's improvement. But I think the main thing is the improvement. I feel like when you watch videos back as well, it always looks worse than what it is in your mind. I'll be running and thinking I'm looking amazing. I'll look back at the video and think, don't share that.
I think as well, like you feel like you're running so fast.
Yeah.
You watch a video and it's like you're on like slow motion, right? It's horrendous. It's not great for your confidence. But
Same in the gym. When I lift in the gym, I don't know about you, if I do a form check, I can feel like a movement is really tough, like a back squat. And then I watch the video and it looks like it was easy. And I'm like, so it's like the opposite. So when I send it to my coach, she'll be like, more weight in there. But on my back, I'm like,
I got
like
nothing
this felt
left.
like it was crushing me. But yeah, it's interesting. It's humbling. This is why it's important to actually record your training, and you can spot and refine them things. If you've got a coach, then you can send it to your coach. But also I think them videos are good for you to look on, to spot your progress in ways as well. So yeah, some big wins across the board.
Yeah, man. And I think the variety of them wins are there. And we were talking out there, right, about just how progress is different for everybody. Your progress might be running 800 meters without stopping. That is still progress to you. Your progress might be just logging your full daily habits via our app, you know. Everything is good to compare, but you have to be sort of internally thinking about what is progress to you. I think it's really important to actually sit down, identify what is progress to you. And it could be something really small. It could absolutely be something really small. It doesn't have to be to run a 5K in under 20 minutes. It could just be getting up and going out for a 10-minute walk. That's still progress. Yeah. So I think just being aware that progress is different for everybody. So a bit of advice, just sit down, look at what progress is for you, and just build on that week on week.
100%. And I feel like a win that we've got to celebrate is that we had the track start time at 6 a.m.
Yes.
Everything returned to normality, schedule, kids drop off. So we said, right, let's not allow people to have excuses. Let's move it to 5:30. We're actually going to move it even earlier to 5:15 just to give people a little bit more time. And I initially thought once we go 5:30, no one's coming or the numbers are going to decline. And actually the numbers went up, right? We even got more people there this week from bringing the session earlier. And I feel like it's just so nice to find, 20 plus people who are willing to wake up at 4:30 a.m. alarm.
Earlier, probably earlier, yeah.
Earlier than that, 4:15 a.m. alarm. With responsibilities, with kids, with busy work schedules, to be able to prioritise and look after their health and just be around people. And it just, that whole day on a Tuesday after you leave, just being around them kind of people, it just makes you think differently. So I feel like we've got a real good group of people.
Yeah, and again,
savages.
And it's 7 weeks in.
Yeah.
Being able to build over 20 people, willing to get up at 4:30, 4:15 within 7 weeks is special. And I think something you said, mate, you was like, your energy was through the roof all day. because you got up. Yes, it's early. We know it's early. Like ideally, no one wants to wake up at 4:30, but we know the benefits far outweigh the cons. And people love it, and it's really good to see.
That's
really good to see.
It's amazing. So I guess the main topic of today's podcast, so we actually put this to our clients and our Instagram as well, of just some questions that they might have to us. So we're almost putting each other in the hot seat a little bit. So we've got some questions here. I guess we'll get straight into it. First of all was from Michael, and he kind of asked a few questions, but let's just get started with one. How the Dubai moves come around for us both? How did that whole process happen? What was the risks involved? Start with yourself.
Yeah, so obviously I'm fairly new to Dubai in terms of residency. Been here multiple times over the last few years. Always loved it. Probably things just didn't align for me to move here. I think I had a pretty stable career back in the UK. And then over the last, 3 to 4 years, I went online with coaching. And as that's progressed, I met my partner, Johanna, and she got an opportunity out here. And she said early doors, like when we first started like dating and stuff, she was like, I might have this opportunity. Like, what are your thoughts on it? And I was just so laid back. We were very early days in our relationship. And I just said, just see what happens. Like, if it works and we both go, cool. If it doesn't, we'll go from there. So we took the plunge, I guess. And that sort of was what made me actually officially move. It was something that I always had in the back of my mind, and it was anytime I'd visit, people would speak to me and say, oh, I could see you living there, or like, you should go there, it's right up your street. But obviously it's a big commitment, right? It's a really big commitment. I think it's very difficult for somebody to do on their own. I think it is tough, especially when if you have got a stable career, you've got a life at home, you've built something up at home.
And also the cost of moving here as well, right? Like, people
crazy.
Obviously talk about tax-free, but also there's a lot of hidden taxes and ways that you've got to move here. It's not a cheap way to live, which is, some people say, is a positive about Dubai, because it kind of filters out, which is why people think it's safer, because people maybe have the money to invest here, and people who earn more income, with poverty sometimes comes more crime and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, absolutely, man. And I think as well, like, just as you said there, if you're with someone, friend, partner, whatever it might be, you're splitting all the costs in half, and it makes it so much more achievable. But yeah, so that's a bit of a roundup why I'm here. I think it would have always happened.
You loved it, didn't you? From day one.
From day one,
here.
yeah.
I was the exact same when I come here on day one. Was a place where I was like, you just know, there's a feeling like, I want to go there.
Yeah, absolutely. And how about you? What sort of triggered your move?
Yeah, so it all kind of started with the COVID lockdown. I believe I briefly touched on it in the past, but obviously we had the lockdown. How many years were we in lockdown for?
I don't know, man. Was it in lockdown?
Yeah,
This was like a year and a half, 2 years?
It was a long time, wasn't it?
It felt like 2 years.
A lot of Warzone games, that was.
Yeah.
But we were in London, a lot of dubs, a lot of W's there. But we were in London at the time, and obviously I was a personal trainer on the gym floor, working at Third Space in Canary Wharf, and then where everything couldn't train people in the gym, I basically said that, I'm going to start and build my online coaching. It was always something that I wanted to do, was build an online coaching system or business, because I knew that I could only deliver so much value through in-person sessions. But when you've got a full-time business, how do you then fully transition to that? It's almost like you've got to try and phase them out. But when you're working for a company, you can't bring down numbers and bring up the others, because you're a full-time employee. That wasn't a self-employed thing that I could just change. So the lockdown gave me a really good opportunity where I just got all of that time back to focus on building the online business. And to be fair, I went in on it and obviously built up some numbers to the point that when I was then online, I could then be wherever location wise. During that lockdown, Dubai was one of the only places that was open. So we come here on a holiday, and a little bit like how it was in Dubai recently, where all the hotels and everything was so cheap, because where it was lockdown, no one was traveling, no one was here. We had such a cheap hotel. I can't remember the price, but it was so cheap. So we just kept extending it 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And for me, I was just finding work-wise, training-wise, I feel like Dubai is the ultimate lock-in place for working, training, getting stuff done. Very motivated being here. And then Beth got a job opportunity, and then we had to go home for a year. She had to go through the process of getting that job. And then, when she got it, we went for it. I think Beth was more hesitant on doing it. I think she felt like, do I want to leave the family? Do I want to leave people behind? I sound a bit more selfish now saying this, because I was just ready to go. I don't know. I just had this dream of coming here. And to be honest, I always wanted to just try out different locations. I went to America for 6 months when I was younger, and I absolutely loved that as a place as well. Didn't quite work out, but I just loved the US and American growth mindset of everyone like supporting each other. And when people started a business, everyone was buying their product. I feel like sometimes at home when someone starts a business, everyone talks about what could go wrong, whereas here and US, it was just like such a growth mindset, which I loved being around. And that's how I felt here as well. So I wanted to be here. And then once Beth got that job, and then over time I built up to that, give me a bit of urgency to really build online. And then, yeah, just shifted things over here. It made a lot of sense, really. So was there risk involved? Yeah, definitely there was, because I had to take a big pay cut. I had to drop my full-time work in order to earn less for the longer term vision of believing longer term that was going to be better. At the time, it was tough to do, but I would always rather go with it and instead of have the what if moment, I think.
Absolutely the same. And I think similar for me, mate, like there was a huge risk for me. I was in a very different career. So majority of people probably know, but I was personal training for years in person, and my days were so long because I had a full-time job at the same time. So I was almost personal training from like 4 a.m. till like 7 a.m. I'd go to work like 8 till 5. I would then train probably till 10 o'clock at night in the gym, and then try and train myself somehow. And as my responsibilities grew, this was whilst working in education, as my responsibilities grew there, it was just impossible. So at that moment in time, I thought, right, like I'm mid-20s, what is going to give me sort of the most security probably? What's got more longevity in it? Where can I obviously make the most money? Being in education at the time, like the holidays are great and stuff like that. So at that time, I thought,
it's quite
right,
like a safety net to
it
be
is,
in, right?
absolutely.
Which is even tougher to leave.
Really tough. And I knew I could progress pretty much to anywhere in that field. Like I was very, very confident with that. I was already in pretty good positions with my limited time there. And I ended up, it was in COVID as well. I had loads of people reaching out, like saying, oh, like, are you ever going to go back to like doing PT in full time and stuff like that? And I was thinking, I don't know. But there was obviously like a desire there, or like a drive. And I thought, you know what, like I do love it. Like I worked in healthcare as well. So I've always had a love for like the psychology, getting people in shape, getting people feeling great about themselves. And I sort of did know early doors that education wasn't for me. I've learned so much, got some great memories there. Worked with some great people. But I just knew there was something there. I just knew it wasn't forever. So I took the risk. And basically how I'd done it quite gently, to be honest. So I just ended up working in education 2 days a week. Started growing my online business 3 days a week. And then over time, obviously that just depleted and fizzled out. But it was hard. It was really hard. When I first started the online, I was working online and full time. And it was tough, like really tough. Like your mornings were coaching. You'd then work, and then your breaks and lunch was coaching. After work was coaching. Weekends was coaching, check-ins. So yeah, there was a risk, but I think like you've got to go after what you believe in and what you love. Again, sort of what I said earlier about life's too short to be in like a body you're unhappy with. It's the same about a career. And don't get me wrong, I'm not being naive. Yes, you need money and stuff like that, but for me, I was doing two things at once just to give myself a chance.
Yeah.
Like, and I ended up sort of, I wouldn't say detesting the education sector, but I think I was just so fatigued and tired, but I just knew I just had to suck it up and get it done, you know?
Absolutely. There's actually a few people who are in the program who I speak to, and they're kind of in this transitional phase where they've got their 9 to 5. They know long term that they don't want to do it. They've got their business idea, but they're also trying to juggle their social life, their relationship, their fitness as well. And it's just that difficult period of your life that I feel like you said, you just have to go so overboard with your work ethic to eventually get to where you want to be. And I'm so glad that I did have that. Obviously I was a bit lucky where I got a lot of time back at once, but you need to obviously make sure that you're building up savings, because that's obviously going to be your backup option. I mean, you could go and just gamble completely, but I feel like you need some kind of savings or backing behind you, but that's probably going to come from your 9 to 5 if you can save X amount. If you can fade it out, you can fade it out nicely. And I think, like you said, mate, you've just got to be working evenings, weekends. And if that's the life that you want, this is a trade-off in order to get it, kind of thing. Happened with you, right?
Absolutely, man. Like nothing comes easy. Nothing worthwhile comes easy. You can talk about that in all areas of life. Like no one's really built a successful career just by getting lucky or half-assing things. No one's built a successful physique just half-assing stuff. Like things take time, and unfortunately, like you do have to put that work in. But I do think that I truly do believe you work hard enough, you will get something out of it. It might not be what you think it might be, but I truly do believe that you will get something out of it. You absolutely will. And just talking on risk, it was sort of answering the other bit of the question was like the risk of starting the good life in one of the worst times in Dubai's history, potentially.
Yeah.
Like, and yeah, like, do you want to give us a bit of a rundown of like our mindset? 'Cause we have so many conversations about we are literally trying to start something completely new at arguably one of the worst times.
Yeah, literally. So obviously when we had a chat and we decided, at first we were going to start the podcast alone. And then we were like, if we're going to do the podcast and we're both going to be coaches, why not just do this as one go? And then, yeah, we kind of laid out the plan of the good life and how that would fit into the UAE and Dubai lifestyle of everyone is working, but also they want to still have the social life, the family, the relationships. They want to have the body to match it. It's a very full-on life, which is why there's trade-offs to it. It was someone who said the good life is not an easy life, right? And we had it all mapped out, perfectly ready to execute it, and then boom, it all kicked off, and there was explosions going on, or things and noises in the air that we didn't like, and obviously a lot of people left, so it kind of was completely against the business model that we had. But yeah, we just had faith, didn't we? And we stuck through that time, and now it's starting to rebuild up, and the 2-week ceasefire is done. I don't know if it's done.
I have no idea, mate. I've sort of switched off a little bit from it now, and I'll say I just had so much faith in what they were doing here. They was gonna be okay.
Yeah.
So I think, like, obviously for me, with a new move, within the first couple of months, we had like some flooding, some storms, a war, but you just have faith. It's strange, and like I say, it's not like I'm a complete newbie to the country, so I sort of already had that level of trust and something. This just reinforced it. But I think for us is when you believe in something so much, you just double down.
Yeah.
And we sometimes call ourselves deluded, don't we? Well, because we believe in ourselves, in what we offer and what we are going to provide, what we already do provide. We believe in it so much that we almost have to give ourselves a bit of reality check sometimes, don't we? Like, but yeah, nothing was ever. It just made us push harder, and we used that time to get certain foundations in place.
I feel like there's a natural reaction in my mind when there's downturns of like double down or go harder, and I don't know if it's just from running my own business for like a number of years now, is that I find that when you're just in tricky situations, pretty much the only answer is to double down, basically. Even like it with your physique, like if someone has a bad week or two with their habits and their standards and they've gained a bit of weight, it's like your next week should be your best week yet. If you're going through a downturn, I don't know, that's just that natural like response of like when something goes bad, don't speak about it. I don't like to speak about it. I like to almost like act like it's not a problem and just work my way out of it.
Sort of like that saying, fight or flight.
Yeah.
Like you either fight or you just run away from it. You either fight the problem if it is a problem, or you run away from it. I think like you decide what perception you put on things. Like if you wanted to embrace that sort of that fear, that negativity, don't get me wrong, it's not ideal what was happening. But we could have easily said, let's put a hold on it, let's not get started. But look how much we've gained already in this period. Like, it's absolutely nuts. And I think, again, it just reinforces everything we believe in even more. Like, reinforces our behaviour even more, right?
Definitely, mate. Definitely. So the next question that I've got here is best and worst trait.
For us. Do you want me to go?
Be careful. You go.
We spoke about this outside a little bit, didn't we? Well, probably my worst trait, if you want to call it a worst trait, is I'm never, like, overly happy. I always want that little bit more. That sounds quite depressing, but
do you think, because there's this whole concept around the man should never be happy. What do you think about that?
I think it's very extreme. I think that's very extreme. Like
men shouldn't celebrate birthdays.
Yeah, or
men shouldn't smile and have fun.
It's very extreme, isn't it? Like for me, like I am happy, but in terms of like personal performance and like personal development, I always do want that little bit more. And I'm trying to get better at it. So as soon as I crossed the line at like Burj to Burj, I saw my time and it was a huge PB. But I was like, I should have just done a bit quicker.
It's funny
like,
though,
right
because
away.
you're not like that with other people, right?
No.
Like when you coach clients,
yeah,
you're very good at saying like, you've smashed that, and you're really good at acknowledging wins there, but not with yourself.
Not with myself. No, I'm very hard on myself. In every area of life, like, I always want to be doing more. And I am trying to get better at like celebrating those small wins and stuff like that. And I'm very proud of what we're building. And when I sort of do reflect back, I try and talk myself out of it. So I was talking to people right after the Burj to Burj. I was like, oh, this was my time. Like, I'm over the moon, buzzing. And instead of going, but I try and like hold back on that a little bit. I think it's got pros and cons. I think it's good to want more. I think it's good to want to be better. But I do think it's very important, if you're going to pick up the negatives, you have to try and pick up the positives as well.
I feel like for us as well, the fun of the game is the chase, right?
Yeah.
Like we love the chase. We love the evolution. So
I
you
just don't want to
wanna win
settle. Like,
too
I don't want
long.
to settle in anything. Like, I just want to feel like I've got a purpose and absolutely everything. I think it's so important. I think as soon as you get complacent, everything just goes downhill. And I've always been like that. Like, I've moved careers quite a lot. I've worked in different sectors, like, and I just want that little bit more all the time.
Yeah.
And I think I am getting better. Maybe I'm getting older as well to appreciate certain things and actually understand that it's all right to
Just
be proud
live
of
in that
yourself a little
moment
bit.
kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that's it. Live in the moment a little bit more,
Yeah.
and I'm getting better at it.
Even maybe we just need like set days with that. Like when you have your race day and whatever happens, that's your race day,
Yeah.
and that's the race day. It's not like the next race or whatever.
Absolutely.
Or I try and do it now with like birthdays and Christmases and like family things of just enjoying that day as it is, really, rather than usually even at Christmas it'd be on like I'll be thinking about like work stuff and New Year goals and just enjoying the moment.
And it's so easy to do that though, isn't it? To always want more. Again, I don't think it's a negative. I just think you got to have certain limitations in place. I feel like it's something you almost coach through yourself, right? Like you do, especially when we preach it. So I'm, like you said, I'm very positive to people. I'm great at picking
But you're
out
grateful
positives.
though. I'd say you're grateful.
Oh yeah, I am. I am very grateful for everything. I feel very blessed of like what I've been able to achieve already in life, and I am also very excited for like what's to come over the next 10 years. Like, so I do have that part. I think it's just something in me. I was always the same at football, mate. Like when I played football from such a young age and played at a pretty decent level, like I don't think I would ever come away and think I played really well there. It was either like we won and I was like happy because of that, but I was always like, could have done that better. I should have took that chance. Should have made that pass. Like always. But hey, we're learning. I think that's the important thing. Like, if you want to call it a fault, I've identified it and I'm sort of working on it, and I absolutely am getting better.
Yeah.
100%. And best trait for me, I think...
I have to tell you this one, actually.
Go on.
Say it.
Oh, okay. So if I say something, I do follow through with it. So I will, in anything, no matter what it is, you can call it a bit of, maybe being a bit impulsive as well. Like if I say I'm going to do something, I will do it. I don't care how I get there. I really will do it. Like, absolutely, whether it's fitness related,
You will like die to
business,
do it.
yeah, like I will go all out and leave it all out. Like, especially in a race or something physical, I'll break my body to like get it. And but I think it's so important, and that's why I tell people my goals now. I've done loads of content about over like the last 12 months about we shouldn't hide away from our goals. Like, put them out there. One, I think it's great that adds a bit of pressure. Two, it makes them seem real. And three, like, if you believe that you can do it, like, why not share it? And I do put a lot of pressure on myself, but I think that's a good thing. And also, I think I'm quite polite. That would be a trait. And I think manners are very, very important, and so many people lack them. Just a pleasing thank you or a smile or good morning. I feel like that's something maybe Dubai lacks a little bit sometimes.
Yeah.
Like just going out your way just to say thank you to someone, or, you know, just be...
I never know if it's a cultural thing or whether it's actual mannerisms, but there's sometimes things that happen to me, I've just kind of dealt with just ignoring it. I used to get so frustrated, but I just think maybe it's different cultures mixing, and I don't want to have the expectation if my culture does this, so you should do this, because that's not the way it works, right? Like, we're in someone else's place and we should rather that. Not everyone is like it, but even there's been times where I'm walking around the mall and I always usually get it where guys will try and like bump my shoulder or like just give me a little nudge, and I'll see them coming, and I'm the one who's got to go and move because they won't move.
No.
And there's been a couple of times where I've had like a baby on my shoulder, and someone's knocked me with the baby on my shoulder, and I'm just, when you got a kid on you, I'm just like, are you kidding? Like, they will 100% know that I've got the baby on my shoulder. Like, that makes no sense.
People just have crazy ego. I don't think that's a Dubai thing. I think that's worldwide. People just have these egos. We're like the opposite of that, aren't we? Like, I just couldn't think of anything worse. Just going back to like manners and wanting to have a nice conversation. I went to Hidden, which is like a cafe in the middle of like the desert or whatever you want to call it. A beautiful place. But I was ended up having a conversation with the waiter there. And he was such a lovely bloke, and just from like him being polite, me being open, we ended up having such a good conversation. He was telling me about his love for football, and he was saying he's from Ghana, and he asked where I was from in the UK. I said Portsmouth. I said, you probably won't know, it's right on the south coast. And he went, I know Portsmouth. And I went, oh, how do you know Portsmouth? And he went, oh, because Papa Booper Diop used to play for him, Sully Montari, Kevin Prince Boateng. He was listing all this stuff off. He was like, Carnu.
Serious ball knowledge.
Absolutely, yeah. And he's a Chelsea fan. But like that really nice like interaction, it just left such a positive experience.
Yeah.
Like a positive memory of that experience there. And I just think that just come from two people, myself and the gentleman, just be willing to actually take a bit of time to get to know each other and just have a real normal conversation. It doesn't matter how much money you earn, like where you're from, what you believe in, just having a conversation. It was so nice. It was so nice.
And sometimes even just like saying hello or opening that conversation,
100%.
it makes people realise, oh, they're like me as well. Because we sometimes think like people aren't like us, but we all want the same things out of life, really, don't we?
Absolutely.
We want to be healthy, you know, keep everyone safe. We want to work hard at something and watch some sports.
Absolutely.
Want our
easy
team
done.
to win.
Yeah.
Pretty simple life, the good life.
Absolutely, man. Right, go on. What's yours? Best and worst trait.
The way that I thought of this in my mind is, what would Beth say my worst traits were? There was a few.
Yeah, how big's the list?
I think what Beth would say is that I'm loud. This is the one that I get. And from our nanny Mary as well.
Yeah.
They will say a lot that I'm very loud around the house, and obviously you're trying to get the babies asleep, and I'll apparently be smashing the doors and I'll be throwing everything everywhere. There's been a few demonstrations of how I get clothes out of the cupboard and shut the doors, and apparently it's that. And
Are they accurate?
In reality, I open the door like this, little squeak, boom, wakes up everyone. But no, maybe I am heavy-handed. No, to be fair, I do like submit to that one. I am.
Okay.
There's been times, even if I have a drink and I'm a little bit like drunk,
Yeah.
I'll throw my weight around and I'm very heavy.
Get boisterous.
Yeah, there's been a few times where I've knocked a few things, and
I remember that.
yeah, we won't go into that today. But yeah, get a bit boisterous, but like a nice
Absolutely
like,
playful.
Nice drunk.
Yeah,
yeah.
man,
Like
yeah.
I'll get my arms around people, but it'll be quite strong.
Yeah. I've had you on my back a few times, mate, at 110 kg.
Yeah. Do you want to tell the story about that?
Go on, you do it.
So we were at Mutiny Festival, right?
Yeah.
So 50 Cent, arguably our favourite artist.
Absolutely.
I think I've seen him, I'm such a fanboy, 7, 8 times. Abu Dhabi, London a few times, and then he obviously come to Portsmouth.
Yeah, which was absolutely
King George's
ridiculous.
playing field
Yeah.
in Caution. And we had to go.
Yeah.
And Snoop Dogg come to Chichester. Was you at that one?
I don't think I'd done that. No,
He was in an England top with a beer.
No way.
Singing his
Of course
songs.
he was.
Smoking some weed or whatever he was smoking. I
Love
don't know. And at Mutiny, we were both drunk, weren't we? And I think I wanted to just get on your shoulders for some reason. I've picked to get on your shoulders. At the time, I was probably 100 kilo.
Mate, at least 100.
I was heavy then.
I think like probably 100, 110. Like you were like bulky. I've got photos of it.
And Ben has gone down to the floor
Like a
with
squat.
the worst form. Like not even a squat. Well, it's like a squat, but with the most rounded
hinge.
back, and your head is basically on the floor. And he basically just like RDL'd me with a bent back, and just stood up 100 kilo. Actually showed me how strong you are.
It's funny,
you
wasn't
like
it?
good morning
I
me
think
from
that
the
was,
floor.
it was like alcohol strength though, right? Like drunk strength. Mate, I've got videos on my phone. I never will delete them, and it's so funny because you're sat so high. I mean, I'm like 5'10". You're like what, 6?
3.
And you're probably 25 to 30% heavier than me in body weight. And for some reason, you've got on my shoulders. And I was obviously happy for it. And then I remember my lower back was in bits for a little bit after.
Weeks, right?
Yeah, one in a good place. And just referring to that, but yeah, we've gone well off topic there.
Yeah,
but absolutely, it's a great memory.
I don't know how we've gone from being loud, but I'd say
yeah,
being loud would be the one that people would say. I personally think my weakness is, and something that I'm trying to work on, is just being more direct. I sometimes think that I struggle with being direct. Sometimes trying to keep people happy, a bit of a people pleaser, don't want to upset people and say the wrong thing. So even when I'm trying to give like feedback that's criticizing, I'm trying to like angle it in a way that's not going to offend someone. I think I could probably be more direct. Me and Beth are probably polar opposites there. So maybe it complements each other in a marriage, is that she's more direct, I'm not. And then we're somewhere in the middle. And then strength, I would say, is loyalty.
Yeah.
Loyalty to, mainly people, to be honest. Like just if I'm loyal to someone, I'm all in, and that's probably the main strength. And the other one I kind of put down, I'm putting a lot of pros here. The other one's motivation, just being fired up. Like I've never really got a problem with like being fired up to do something. Go to the gym, work hard, and just work. I love working. I love being busy all the time.
Something really important on that, and I agree with those points, of course, but something I find really important, mate, and I see it in myself all the time. If I have a really productive day, no matter how stressful it's been, no matter how long it's been, I feel bloody amazing after. I feel absolutely amazing. On Mondays, when we have by far the busiest day of the week, the majority of check-ins are done, still got to train, still got to go at it with good energy. I feel amazing after, because I know I've worked so hard and I feel fulfilled. The time, people sometimes think it's the opposite. If I'm super busy, I'm drained and stuff like that, but it's completely the opposite. If you have a purposeful day, you get so much ticked off, you look after yourself.
There's actually no better feeling,
you feel amazing. Compare that to when you have a lazy day. at the end of that lazy day or a day where I feel like I could have done more, I feel horrendous. And for me, it just shows you that just put a different spin on it. Like when you've had a fulfilling day, there's no better feeling. There is no better feeling. I think it's so important. Just that get up and go. It brings so much value to your life, to your days.
Yeah. And even now, like when we have still moments, like me and Beth will often say, like, oh my God, we need like a beach club day so bad. We need like a day off or something, because our lifestyle is just like dopamine through the roof. It's like wake up, train, work, lunch, train, kids. There's not really downtime. And then you think that you want to step away from it, and you go away from it even just a few hours, and we get a bit itchy. We want to get back to it. Obviously, it's important to rest. I'm not saying like never rest. Don't get me wrong. You need that. Not that I have much of it these days, but
I think rest is different for everyone. Like for me, like a rest is maybe just not having like 20 plus check-ins to get through. Like even anything a little bit less than that is like considered a rest to me. You sort of have your bar up here, and then sometimes if you're around here, that mate, I can sustain
just
that
bringing
all day.
down intensity. Yeah, I even thought this with holidays. I always used to be someone who'd be like, right, holiday, complete week off, but I really feel it when I get back if I do that. So instead, I'd still train, but just do lighter bits and just do some like fun, like body weight stuff, or go to a gym for a one-off session. Doesn't need to be extreme, but I just think keeping yourself in the game just. And the way that you recharge is not by having the full week off. 100%. You just bring down intensity. It's like a deload week, isn't it? Like you still do something, but just less.
And maybe with nutrition you're a little bit looser. But I can tell you now, like if you go all out and just eat whatever you want, you're not feeling good the day after. I remember that Easter brunch. I think I raised it a couple of weeks ago, but that Easter brunch me and Johanna went to, I generally felt hungover for like 2 days after, because it was all the Easter desserts, and I felt awful. Like in your head before, you're like, it's gonna be amazing. Like off the meal plan, gonna just go wild, just enjoy whatever.
Did you think that reset done you good though, longer term, or not?
I don't know, like I think it's just important about being like. So in that moment, I was saying to Joe at the time, I was like, let's just enjoy it. Like it's a one day. Like I know it's not going to cause any damage. Like I just know feel a bit sluggish for a couple of days because I've overeaten. My sugar intake was through the roof. In the moment, I enjoyed it, but after it's just like I would have felt better if I just carried on eating.
Because sometimes it's nice just to go into like a taste of that lifestyle to go, yeah, I don't want that.
Yeah.
Like, I want. I actually really enjoy my life.
You see so many people who are fully embedded in the program. And they will be like, after a holiday or a week away or whatever it might be, they will. I can guarantee you, they will always say, "I can't wait to get back on it," because they know how good they feel. Like when they're living the good life, or they're living a life where they're in control of stuff. There's no better feeling. And you think like the grass is always greener. Like, oh, I can be more slack with stuff. It's not normally like that.
No,
it's not normally like that.
Any other questions you got?
Mate, we got loads, yeah. So we got quite a few. So we got a few questions from the group about habits and like the best habits and stuff that we see from people who come in the program, and how those habits progress, and what sort of habits are the best in terms of return on investment. What do you reckon on them? Like, what are the most important habits, would you say, for somebody looking to improve their health?
I would say the most important habit that I try and get people clear on at the start is just time management and scheduling, and having a schedule, literally just having a schedule. I feel like when people first join, they just don't have any times on what they're doing in their days. So one thing that I like to get a lot of people to do when they first join is to map out their ideal week. And it's not the perfect week, and you almost need like a draft week first. So yeah, Monday to Sunday, like how is each hour looking, and try and get, relatively precise. I would always, when scheduling my calendar, put in health first, because health is at the forefront. Without it, we're nothing. So when are you training? When are you having breakfast, lunch and dinner? When are you sleeping? When are you waking up? Because you know that if you're eating regularly with high protein, you're getting good sleep, you're training. You could even put walking in there as well. You know that your life is just going to be like 10 times better. So that's the foundation. And then secondly, put in your downtime, your fun, your family time, to make sure that you're actually making time for that. Because if not, it's just going to be work. And if it's work, there can always be more work, right? Like there's always more work to do.
Never stop.
So I would say health goes into the diary, then family and fun and enjoyment, and then you put in your work around that. And I feel like for me then, when I then fit in my work around that, it then motivates me to go to work hard for the good life that I want. Not that I don't enjoy work as well, but it's nice to then work towards going to the gym, or work towards having that time with the family. So I feel like once someone then has their ideal week planned out, I would literally recommend anyone doing it. Go onto Google Calendar and start mapping it out. One mistake I did used to make is I used to get too precise and like map out every like 15-minute thing that I would do. It drive here, drive there. I think just have a rough schedule and then go and run with it. And then on a Sunday, have a check-in with yourself. What went well, what didn't go well, what do I need to improve, and just refine it. And 2 or 3 weeks in, and you should pretty much have it nailed. For me now, we do have a shared calendar that we look at, but I'm not super precise of it because it's all automated and locked in now anyway. So I could write it out and tell you exactly what it was. But at first, it's a great thing to become aware of. Like tracking your food for the first time. Track an ideal day, and then you start repeating them long enough. Eventually, it just becomes a part of who you are. So time management is the number one habit for me.
Yeah, just being organised, mate. Right? I think decision fatigue's a real thing. Like the more things you have to make a decision about in the moment, the more chance you have of going wrong. You just increase that chance for mistakes. If you're organised, it takes away all of that, and you can put more energy into your gym session. You can put more energy into work because you're not worried about what am I going to have for lunch, what am I going to have for dinner, what you got to do at the gym. You're not rocking up to the gym thinking, right, what am I training today? You save time. So that little bit of investment you do on a Sunday where you just think, right, I'm going to plan out my week, roughly what it's going to be like. People think that's you're wasting time, but you're saving time later in the week.
Hours.
And I say
hours.
Yeah.
What, 1 hour in max? Not even that. It's not even 1 hour in, but that 1 hour is going to buy you back at least 4 in the week.
100%.
So it's at least 4x return on your time.
And that's physical time, and let alone like how
Results.
much more mental capacity you actually gain as well, because everything's done for you. It's so important. Like I could not imagine waking up in the morning thinking, what shall I have for breakfast today? Like I know what I'm waking up and I know to the gram what I'm having.
I know what you're having.
Yeah,
You're having overnight oats.
Absolutely. Like 50 grams of oats, 150 milliliters of water, 1 scoop of protein.
I think when
milk,
you're like reacting on the bounce, it just becomes like a what if game. It just depends.
Yeah.
It depends on like
that margin
how
for
you
error.
feel, if you had a good sleep or not, what comes up at work. Whereas if you've got a schedule and something comes up, sorry, I'm not free at that time, I've got to do this time. Of course, some people have schedules that don't allow for that, and you're going to have to tweak it to your lifestyle as well.
Absolutely.
Right? Like some people will say, but George, my life isn't the same every single week, right? If you have a rota, when you get your rota, maybe plan for the next 3 days that you do have control, maybe even plan for just 1 day in advance. You know, plan I used to do that every evening before I switch off for bed, a bit of like an evening routine thing, plan the next day and just know what that day looks like, right? Just control what you can control with that. I feel like that's huge. And also, I feel like it's a massive mindset thing. And for me, if anyone who knows me growing up, it was always I was a disorganized person. And I told myself that for so long, is that I'm just disorganized and kind of just like submitted to that's who I am. But it doesn't need to be that way. Like I honestly was the most disorganized person. And I'm not saying I'm super organized, but there's definitely... You have to be organised when you have a lot on your plate, and essentially, like the more you have on, the more detailed and organised you've got to be.
The thing is, well, like just start small. If that sounds quite overwhelming, just write your days you're going to go to the gym and what time you're going to go. Yeah. Like just start small, and then once that's embedded, you know what? Maybe put in 2 to 3 meal prep days that you're going to do. Give yourself that hour in the evening, 45 minutes in the evening, whatever it is. Just build up. Before you know it, within 2 months, you've got a whole schedule where you've built them habits from the ground up.
That's one habit that I see consistently with successful clients is when we look at their calendar, just their workouts are just on a similar day, similar time. There's just like repetition in there. So yeah, I feel like that's a really important point.
I think if you chase variety, it's going to catch up with you. Like just chase that routine. Like you will grow to love it. I think people think it's boring or whatever, but no, it's not.
The fun is in the results rather than the variety. Like if you want variety, just tell yourself that you'll have variety once you've earned the result. Yeah. And once you get the result, you won't want variety because you'll be so happy with the result anyway.
There's no better feeling. It's like literally just what you just said about going on the holiday. You think it'd be a nice break, but then you're actually like, I'm looking forward to get back. Yeah. You know? Mate, it's a really interesting question. It's come up a few times, and someone sent it in yesterday. And you get it a lot. How does someone get into resistance training? So someone who's quite nervous, we've just had Leah who's recently joined. She's been with us about 4 or 5 weeks now. Such a negative perception of the gym. She sort of knows lifting weights, moving her body in that sort of way is good for her, but very apprehensive. And then I had another person actually respond to the question, how do I get into resistance training? What would be the first steps?
Yeah, interesting. I'm trying to think back of how I got into resistance training. It would have been going with someone who knew how to do resistance training and wasn't judgmental and was just helpful, going there and almost having a bit of a friendship with it and having fun with it, a little bit like when we first started training, just enjoying that 1 hour in the gym. And obviously when you go into the gym, not picking super complex advanced movements, and then I guess people say, what would that be? Because they don't know, because they've never done resistance training. For me, I started off with machines. Remember in Roco, they just had the machine aisle, and it was just starting off with all of the machines, because the thing is with a machine, of course you're going to have to adjust it to the level that you need to, but there's instructions that you can read to do that. And then once you're locked in on the machine, it's only
It's a
going
fixed
one way
movement.
or the other, right? Whereas if you start getting dumbbells and barbells involved, like there's going to be the instability element, and that's a bit more technically tougher. You could lean in and get a personal trainer, and I actually spoke earlier in the podcast about how I wanted to move away from personal training. I think personal training sometimes can be beneficial initially just to get a good understanding. So either go with an experienced friend or get a coach if you want to just be helped. And I think once you then understand them fundamentals, then you've got the confidence to then do it on your own. What would your advice be?
I think one of them, you just have to be brave and understand that it will be uncomfortable when you start, but everyone has that uncomfortable stage. And I think when you go to the gym, you don't see those people going through that uncomfortable stage. You see those people who may be looking great shape, but they've been there 10 years. So you haven't seen them at that starting point. I completely agree in terms of trying to get some guidance. I think if you can train with somebody amazing, someone who is a little bit more confident right away, that's going to put you at ease. I've basically paired a couple of girls up on the program, Leah and Georgie, who both live in England, and they've gone to gym a few times to support each other, and it's so nice, and it makes it one more enjoyable, but you actually learn a lot as well. Machines, free weights are always tough until your body starts to be able to stabilize itself.
Even
and
bodyweight
things like
exercises.
that. Yeah, range
powerful.
of motion.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I think there is so much information out there, but the only way you're going to learn is by taking action. So the more you delay it, the more you're just delaying you get into a place of being comfortable with it. So you just have to action.
I do remember a memory now though of like that free weights area at
Rocco. Yeah,
that main bit, there was some jacked big people in there, and they were actually the nicest guys. I've gone on to like know them and be friends with them now. But at the time, I do remember like that first step in the free weights area was like, okay, I'm moving up with the big boys now. And like, this is big. This is a big step. They're just ease bar curling as much weight as possible, whatever. But that's a big step.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is intimidating. And I think I always say to people, like, sometimes it's all right just to accept what you're feeling.
And it's one of those that when you do it, you're like, why did I not do this sooner? Or these people are so nice and friendly when you ask them a question.
And it doesn't take long. It's not a huge, yes, your strength takes a bit of time, and actually accumulating muscle mass, stuff like that takes time, but to actually get the movements pretty where they need to be, it doesn't take that long, especially on more like a chest press or something like that, or a shoulder press. I mean, you do obviously have more complex stuff like a squat and some deadlifts and stuff. There's a few more cues in there, but there's a lot of free weight movements you can do which are comfortable.
And as you're trying to progress and learn, you could even record a few of your movements and send it to people that you know who are more experienced. If you can't go to the gym with them, and you could ask advice. I've done that a few times as well. And I think asking people for advice in the gym, I know that's maybe like a big step for a lot of people. But if someone come up to me or you and asked like, oh, could you help me with that? Like, Matt, I'd be buzzing. Like, I would be like straight in, like ready to go. So
I'll still get happy when someone asks me for a spot.
Yeah.
I mean, they must think I'm capable, you know?
Yeah, literally.
No, absolutely. I think for me, like that you just got to take that first step. You just have to do it. But also, yeah, it is a little bit nerve wracking. But I think get support. There's so much support out there. There's so much support out there. Just take that first step, get that little support you need, and move from there.
100%. Another question, we haven't got much time, so let me just go through these a little bit quicker. So what struggles, we always do this. We chat a lot, don't we? What struggles do you see that feel big at the start for people, but then end up a small challenge?
Okay, so how do they grow? So something that's really difficult early doors. I think like tracking. I think that's just tracking your day. So obviously one of the things that we do is we ask people to track some daily habits, because I always use the saying of like, what's measured gets managed. So if it's not measured, you can't manage it, right? So if you've come to us and you're looking for support with your health and your physique or whatever it might be, if we don't know what's going on, we can't manage it.
That's the whole point of coaching, right? You need data to coach.
Absolutely. It's data driven, right? So I think for me, it's actually just getting in the mindset of logging and tracking and holding yourself to high standards. I refer to it as just holding high standards. If you have a high standard, you'll get a high result. So I think for me, the first bit, which is the most challenging, is actually just logging a few certain metrics every single day and doing that for a long enough period where you actually have some solid data that we can reflect on. By the end of it, it's second nature, right? How easy actually is it to track food? When someone says you've got to log everything that you eat, if you've never done it before, you're like, that's overwhelming, that's a lot. But how long does it take?
Yeah, 2 seconds.
Like literally.
I always say, just to begin with, to get you into the routine of doing it, just before you consume something, just quickly log it. Like, so don't allow yourself to eat that until it's like roughly logged. And it doesn't need to be perfect as well. A lot of people will go out in social environments where they can't measure everything out. Even just guesstimating is going to make you a stronger tracker. And I always think tracking is a skill that you develop. It's not something that you're good at or bad at. Like we spoke about, some people will say, I'm great at tracking or not great. I think, unfortunately, if you want to improve your body composition, you need to account for the numbers, whether that's through a meal plan or whether that's through tracking. I just don't believe, maybe it's possible in some cases, but it's not possible in many cases, that you can just randomly, intuitively pick up stuff and eat your way to being in shape intuitively. I think intuitive eating is great once you've got all the foundation of knowledge, you've tracked for a number of years, you're someone who's in shape, you have great personal standards, and you maybe want to maintain or build some muscle. But I think if you're trying to get lean and lose a bit of body weight, because if you just intuitively eat, your body's just naturally going to want to always stay level. So you're just going to either move a bit less or you're going to eat a bit more naturally just to maintain and level out.
I think even just getting the habit of weighing yourself daily. I think a lot of people have negative perceptions of jumping on the scales. I think it's great. It just gives you an indication. Are you moving where it doesn't mean the scales are going down for you to win. You might want the scales to go up, but are they moving the way you want them to go? Like, how do you know you're getting somewhere without that little bit of data, Yeah.
No, 100%. And I think on that point as well, there's a quote that I like from an old mentor called "New levels, new devils." That when you move up the levels, there's always new devils and new challenges that you're trying to conquer. So the challenges never really stop. They just get bigger and they get a little bit more advanced. So yeah, literally someone at the start of their transformation, just something small is going to be tough. And then that's easy now, and then it just evolves and gets challenging to the point they are going to look back and say, I can't believe I struggled with that. I actually had a bit of a reality check with a client who was not mocking, but like, how does that person struggle with that? It's like the easiest thing in the world. And I was like, listen, I've coached you for 2 years.
You were there.
Like, that was you. Yeah, you couldn't do that most basic thing at the start either. So again, this is why it's important of like perception of like where you're at the moment. Like, just think about that next challenge in front of you. Don't think about like the top of the mountain. Just what have you got to overcome to get to the next level? It could just be completing your 10,000 steps a day. It could be solving and cleaning up your weekends. There's always going to be something that is like the thing that you need to solve, if that makes sense.
It's almost just prioritizing what the biggest return.
So what is that thing? Yeah, what is that thing? It's, cleaning up, tracking, sleeping more, getting to bed earlier, whatever that is.
I always think just pick your biggest weakness and just focus on that first. Forget everything else.
Yeah.
Fix that first. And when that's done and you've got that embedded, move on to the next one and just plug away like that. Absolutely. One more question before we round off, because it's a really nice question. And I know we answered it in maybe our first podcast, but somebody reached out and said, what does the good life mean to me and you? So do you want to take that away? What does the good life mean to you?
The good life. Yeah, it's definitely evolved since we last spoke. Obviously, we've been thinking about it a lot as well. So having good health is going to be number one. Again, we spoke about when you put the glasses on and you're healthy and you view the world in a different lens. For me, it's family, the kids, spending time with the kids and being in their presence. I spoke to some dads recently who say that a dad's job isn't to be around and spend time with their kids. A dad's job is just to purely work and to come back with stories every so often that you can share with your kids. I personally don't agree with that. There's also a bit of a thing going around that more time you have with kids, the lower your testosterone levels are going to be. I would argue that let's test my testosterone levels. I'll challenge any other dad out there who's got less kids than me, that they've even got higher test on the scale, and I've got 2 newborn twins, a toddler, and I spend more time with the 99% of dads. I'm indoors working from home all day in that environment. I'll work, I'll go downstairs, I'll spend time with my kids, I'll see my kids. And yeah, so for me, family, health, having a purpose, having a fulfilling career, seeing people evolve and grow, and just waking up every single day excited about what the day ahead is going to account, and not just having that for a weekend, not just having that for a holiday, but every single day. And it doesn't need to be anything extravagant either. I was even thinking earlier about birthdays and maybe how I'd celebrate birthdays, and I was thinking, because in a couple of years I got my 30th and I've seen a few big birthdays going around, like what would I want to do? And I was thinking, I don't think I'd want much on my birthday really. Like, I would like to wake up, have my double espresso with my maple syrup in there with the kids around, maybe me and you hit the gym or go for a run, come back, do a little bit of work on the business. Like, honestly, that's like,
what you enjoy.
That's the good life for me. It really is. So
man.
What's your definition?
I'll keep it real short, 'cause you've sort of ticked off as well. And I think it's funny because we've both sort of grown to align as well. I think the first thing for us is health. Without health, everything else falls apart. Second thing is obviously having like meaningful relationships, like whether that's friendships, loved ones, family, whatever it may be. Like, if you've got all the money in the world, all the success in the world, if you've got no one to share it with, potentially becomes irrelevant, right? So having them relationships. And the next one would be purpose for me. So having a purpose, whether that's in career, whether that's like personal goals, I think that gives you something to wake up to. And I think you combine them three, you're in for a good time.
Love
Absolutely.
that. The good life.
The good life.
Sure, and a lot of people think the good life is sitting on a beach, drinking and smoking and indulging and eating junk food. And yeah, I don't know. For me, I don't mind going to a beach. Don't get me wrong, but I wouldn't mind playing some volleyball, going for a run, and doing something, being active. So
we're rewriting the narrative of
for
what
the good life
is.
and what it is. Yeah, for
Till
sure.
next time.